Drop a like and do share. Leave your comments and do not forget to subscribe for more videos.
Hello students, my name is Niyati Seth and thanks for watching Edipedia Word videos. My topic for the presentation is 5th section of the chapter Photosynthesis. In this section of the video, we will discuss about the photophosphorylation. Photophosphorylation, they are also known as light dependent reaction or photochemical phase, students. Light dependent reactions are of two types, which are those cyclic and non-cyclic, students. Students, what is light reaction? This reaction, it occurs in the presence of sunlight. It is photochemical reaction which take place in grana of chloroplast. And in light reaction, ATP and NADPH2 are formed. This involves photophosphorylation and photolysis of water, which I have already told you in my previous section of the presentation. So for better understanding, please refer to that presentation. Okay? But here, let's discuss about the two types or the two stages of light dependent reaction, that is cyclic and non-cyclic. So student, photophosphorylation is also known as photosynthetic phosphorylation. It is the process of photophosphate group transfer into ADP to synthesize energy rich ATP molecule, which make use of light as external energy source, students. Okay? So this is cyclic photophosphorylation and this is non-cyclic photophosphorylation. Okay? See student, this cyclic photophosphorylation, in this the formation of ATP from ADP and inorganic phosphate is called as phosphorylation of ADP. So when this process occurs in the presence of sunlight, then that is known as photophosphorylation, because photo means light. So when this process it occurs in the presence of sunlight, then that process is known as photophosphorylation. Okay? So this is your cyclic, in which it forms a Z kind of a scheme. Okay? And this is your non-cyclic photophosphorylation. See students, this cyclic photophosphorylation, in this photo excitation takes place. Okay, this cyclic photophosphorylation, it takes place in the grana of chloroplast. Grana are made up of thylakoid. Okay, and thylakoid contains quantasomes. So each quantasome, it shows photosynthetic pigments which are arranged in two photosystems, which is photosystem 2 and photosystem 1. Okay students, cyclic photophosphorylation, I'm talking about this, it takes place in only one photosystem. Okay, it takes place only in the one photosystem. See, this photo excitation takes place. This is PS2. In this photo excitation takes place, and it receives a photon of light, and the reaction center of this, it gets excited. Okay, and they release the electron from it. See, okay, and this way electron transfer takes place from primary acceptor to plastocyanone, this is PQ, to the cytochrome complex to plastocyanin, this is PC, and it finally reaches to photosystem 1, students. Okay, there electron again ejects out and it reaches to the primary acceptor, then to the ferredoxin, then to the cytochrome complex. That's why it is called as cyclic photophosphorylation, because it forms a Z kind of skin, and electron reaches to the quinone, cytochrome complex, plastocyanin, again to the photosystem 1, then to the primary acceptor, then to the ferredoxin, and then it returns back to the cytochrome complex, students. Okay, and this way it forms energy for the chemiosmotic synthesis of ATP. Okay, so this is how ATP is synthesized in cyclic photophosphorylation, students. Okay, during a cyclic transfer of energy rich electrons, there is loss of energy from electron at every transfer. See, electron gets first transfer from the primary acceptor to plastoquinone, plastoquinone to the cytochrome complex to the plastocyanin, and then to the photosystem 1, to the primary acceptor, ferredoxin, and again to the cytochrome complex, students. Okay, so the energy lost from one such transfer is used to form ATP. Okay, it is used to form this ATP by chemiosmotic process. Okay, this is called as cyclic photophosphorylation. It occurs in any of the following two transfers, from ferredoxin to the cytochrome. See, it is making the ATP, and from cytochrome complex to the cytochrome F. Okay, so this is how ATP synthesis takes place in cyclic photophosphorylation, students. Okay, now comes your non-cyclic photophosphorylation. So what happens in this? Students, please note that this non-cyclic photophosphorylation, it takes place in the grana of chloroplast. Grana are made up of thylakoid. A thylakoid has quantasomes. Okay, and each quantasome contains photosynthetic pigments which are organized in two photosystems. Which are those? PS1, okay, and 2. Both these photosystems, they are involved in non-cyclic photophosphorylation. Okay, now a non-cyclic photophosphorylation, how does it goes? See, this is the photosystem 1. When photons of the light are received by the chlorophyll, these green one are your chlorophyll, students. Okay, P700, and this was P680. Okay, so when PS1 it gets excited, it expels electron which goes to the primary acceptor, students. As a result of this chlorophyll A, this green one are your chlorophyll A, it becomes ionized by acquiring positive charge, students. Okay, so electrons expels and it reaches to the primary acceptor. Then it is received by the ferredoxin. Okay, ferredoxin, it transfers these electrons to the coenzyme NAD plus reductase. NADP retains these electron and thus gets reduced. This gets reduced. Okay, that's why its name is NADP plus reductase. Okay, then it just gets reduced from NADP plus to NADPH. Okay, so this way it takes place and ATP is formed. When energy rich electrons, they are transferred from chlorophyll A, that is P680, this one was your P680 and this is your P700, students, through electron acceptors. See, these are the electron acceptors. Okay, so the energy from electrons is released, which is used to combine ADP and inorganic phosphate to form ATP. This is called as non-cyclic photophosphorylation. Now, students, what are the end products of non-cyclic electron transfer? First is your oxygen. Oxygen is expelled, ATP is produced, and NADPH2 are produced. These two together are called as assimilatory power, students. Okay, now what is assimilatory power? Assimilatory power is used in dark reaction. See students, we are studying about the light dependent reaction, that is your cyclic and non-cyclic stages. And in non-cyclic stages, assimilatory power is produced, which is used in dark reaction. That is reduction of carbon dioxide to form carbohydrate, students. Okay. Now we will study about the non-cyclic photophosphorylation in detail. Okay. So the electron lost by P680, that is your PS2, they are taken up by the PS700, that is PS1. Okay, so these are your antenna molecules, that is your photosystem 2, and this is antenna molecule which is PS1. PS1 is also known as P700, and PS2 is P680. Okay, so don't get confused, students. Okay, why it is called as non-cyclic photophosphorylation, students? Because electron lost by the P680, that is this one, is taken up by the P700 and do not get back to the P680. Can you see the electron returning back to the PS2, that is P680? No, students. That's why it is called as non-cyclic photophosphorylation. The electron passed through the primary acceptor. See, when sunlight hits this antenna molecule, that is your PS2, which is P680, it expels 2 electrons, which is taken up by the primary electron acceptor. Okay, then electron pass through the primary electron acceptor to the plastoquinone. Okay, then to the cytochrome complex. Okay, and then to the plastocyanin, and then finally to the P700, that is your PS1, students. The electron given out by the P700, that is this one, this is your another antenna molecule which is taken up by primary acceptor. Okay, and are ultimately passed to the NADP. The electrons combine with H plus and reduce NADP to NADPH2. See, this is now reduced to NADPH2. Okay, the hydrogen ions are also called as protons. They are made available by splitting of water, photolysis of water, which I have already taught you in detail in my previous sections of the presentation. So for better understanding, please refer to that presentation also, students. Now comes your non-cyclic photophosphorylation, which needs a constant supply of water molecules, students. The net result of the non-cyclic photophosphorylation is formation of oxygen, as I told you, NADPH and ATP molecules. Oxygen is produced as a waste product of photosynthesis. So this way plants produce oxygen which is taken up by the animals, students. Okay. Now students, what are the significance of non-cyclic photophosphorylation? First, that it involves photophosphorylation and photolysis of water, students. Second, the electron transfer is unidirectional, as you can see, and it is non-cyclic. That means it does not return back the electron to the P680. Okay. It is a major pathway of light reaction which converts light energy to chemical energy. This is another significance. And most important significance of non-cyclic photophosphorylation is that it generates assimilatory power, that is your ATP and NADPH too, to be used in dark reactions which liberates oxygen. Okay. Assimilatory power is used in dark reaction for reducing carbon dioxide to carbohydrates. Okay, so this is the significance of non-cyclic photophosphorylation. Now coming back to the how it goes. See, light reaction, it elevates electron in two steps, PS2 and PS1. See, this is the PS2. Okay, so it expels electron, it reaches to the primary acceptor and it goes here to the plastoquinone, then cytochrome. This is your cytochrome which makes the ATP. Okay, and then it goes to PS1. Okay, now here photon hits the PS1 and then it expels the electron and it reaches here, the primary acceptor, and then it reduces the NADP plus reductase from NADP plus to NADPH. Okay, so this way NADPH is produced in non-cyclic photophosphorylation and ATP is produced here. Okay, so PS2, it generates energy as ATP. Okay, so this is your photo system 2 which generates energy as ATP, whereas PS1, it generates reducing power as NADPH. Okay, so this is our NADPH. This is the typical representation of non-cyclic photophosphorylation. This is plasma membrane, hydrophobic and hydrophilic ends. Okay, and see how light hits the photosystem and how photolysis of water liberates oxygen, and electron liberated from the photolysis of water, it goes from here to the primary acceptor, then to here, which is another antenna molecules which produces NADPH, which is your non-cyclic photophosphorylation, and ATP. See the hydrogen which is which has come out from this, it goes from this motor to produce ATP. Okay, which I have already taught you in chemiosmotic theory in my fourth section of this chapter. Okay, now come to the cyclic photophosphorylation, students. See, students, the electrons released by P700, which is also known as your PS1, in the presence of light, they are taken up by the primary acceptor, students. Okay, so this is your antenna molecule where chlorophyll A is there. When light hits the PS1, that is P700, in presence of light, they are taken up by the primary acceptor and they are passed to the ferredoxin and plastoquinone, cytochrome complex, plastocyanin, and finally back to the P700. That's why this process is known as cyclic, because electrons come back from the same molecule after cyclic movement. Okay, students? Cyclic photophosphorylation also results in the formation of ATP molecules, just like in non-cyclic photophosphorylation, which I have just taught you. Now, as the electron moves downhill in the electron transport chain, they lose potential energy, and ATP molecules are formed in the same way as mitochondria during respiration. During cyclic photophosphorylation, electrons from photosystem 1 are not passed to the NADP from electron acceptor. Okay, instead the electrons, they are transferred back to the P700. See, it is transferred back to the P700 after cyclic movement. It has formed a cascade. See, electron reaches to the electron acceptor and then to the plastoquinone, then to the cytochrome and plastocyanin, and finally back to the antenna molecule, that is your P700 or PS1, students. Okay, this downhill movement, see, this is downhill movement of electron from an electron acceptor to the PS700 results in the formation of ATP. Okay, and this is termed as cyclic photophosphorylation. It is very important to note that oxygen and NADPH2 are not formed during this cycle, okay, during cyclic photophosphorylation. See students, please note that in this process the initial donor, which is this antenna molecule, and the finally acceptor is same, that is your chlorophyll A, which is also called as P700. It is also known as PS1 students. Okay. Now cyclic photophosphorylation, if PS1 can't pass electron to the NADP, it cycles back to the PS2 and it makes more ATP but no NADPH. Okay. I'm again repeating, if it's a possibility, okay, if PS1 can't pass electron to the NADP, it cycles back to PS1. As you can see, it cycles back to the PS2 and it makes more ATP but no NADPH. Okay, so no NADPH is formed, but it cycles back to the PS2 and it makes more ATP but no NADPH. It coordinates light reaction to Calvin cycle, that is your dark cycle. Calvin cycle, it uses more ATP than NADPH. Please remember that. So 18 ATP plus 12 NADPH, it gives rise to one molecule of glucose, that is C6H12O6. So for one molecule of glucose formation, 18 ATP are required and 12 NADPH are required. Okay. So this is the photophosphorylation in this. This is your antenna molecule, that is your PS2. Electrons liberates from this antenna molecule and it reaches to the primary acceptor, then to the plastoquinone, then to the cytochrome complex, then to the plastocyanin, and then to the photosystem 1, that is your P700. Then electrons get expelled out because of the photon hitting. It reaches to the primary acceptor, okay, and to the ferredoxin, and it thus reduces NADP plus reductase and thus it forms NADPH, okay, which is used in dark cycle also for the formation of carbohydrate. Okay. So this is your non-cyclic photophosphorylation and this is your this is your entire non-cyclic photophosphorylation. Okay, NADPH is produced. Okay, and this is your cyclic photophosphorylation, this part. Okay, so these electrons, they are first accepted by ferredoxin reducing agent, that is your Z. This is your Z, which passes them to the electron carrier ferredoxin, which gets reduced. Okay, so it reaches back to the your and back to the chemiosmotic synthesis of the ATP. So what's the difference between non-cyclic photophosphorylation and cyclic photophosphorylation, students? Electrons do not come back to the same molecule in case of non-cyclic photophosphorylation, but in case of cyclic photophosphorylation, electrons come back to the same molecule, that is your P700, students. Now who's the electron donor? First electron donor is water in case of non-cyclic photophosphorylation, and in case of cyclic photophosphorylation, first electron donor is P700. Non-cyclic photophosphorylation involves both, that is your PS1 and PS2 students, whereas it involves only PS1 students. Please note that. And who's the last electron acceptor in case of non-cyclic photophosphorylation is NADP. And in case of cyclic photophosphorylation, last electron acceptor is P700, that is your PS1, students. And the net products of non-cyclic photophosphorylation is ATP, NADPH and O2. And the net product of cyclic photophosphorylation is ATP. Students, question may be asked like, why non-cyclic photophosphorylation is more efficient than cyclic photophosphorylation? Reason, it generates only reason is that cyclic photophosphorylation, it generates only ATP, whereas non-cyclic photophosphorylation, it generates ATP, NADPH molecules by photolysis of water. During dark reactions for the synthesis of carbohydrate, ATP and NADPH are required, okay, for the synthesis of carbohydrate in dark reaction. Both are required as ATP act as phosphate and energy donor, while NADPH, it acts as hydrogen donor. In non-cyclic photophosphorylation, oxygen is evolved, whereas during cyclic photophosphorylation, O2 is not evolved. And as we know, O2, that is your oxygen, is necessary for all living organism for the respiration. Right? So this is how it is, that why non-cyclic photophosphorylation is more efficient than cyclic photophosphorylation. Okay? And another difference between cyclic and non-cyclic photophosphorylation is that the possible site for cyclic photophosphorylation is stroma lamellae, because stroma lamellae membranes lack PS2 and NADP reductase enzyme. It occurs when only light of the wavelength beyond 680 nanometer are available. Okay. Now, non-cyclic photophosphorylation occurs at the membrane or lamellae of grana, which have both PS1 and PS2 students. It takes place when light of wavelength up to 700 is available. Okay? And please note that the first electron acceptor in case of non-cyclic photophosphorylation is plastoquinone. And in case of cyclic photophosphorylation, first electron acceptor is your ferredoxin. Okay, so these are the major differences between non-cyclic photophosphorylation and cyclic photophosphorylation, which are also known as light dependent reactions, students, which occurs in two stages, which is your cyclic and non-cyclic. Okay, and please note that this entire photophosphorylation was first demonstrated by Arnon. Okay, so this was all about the two stages of light dependent reactions, which is cyclic and non-cyclic photophosphorylation. In my next section of the presentation, we will discuss about the dark reaction. So till then, stay tuned and keep watching Edupedia World videos. Thank you.